A departing storm is sliding off the coast, but the atmosphere is already preparing its next act. In the wake of the recent system, colder air remains in place across much of the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, setting the stage for what could become a far more significant winter event. Energy diving into the southern plains will begin organizing and strengthening as it shifts eastward. Over the next 24 to 48 hours, this new system will tap into moisture from the Gulf and Atlantic, gradually intensifying. The result may be a widespread snowfall stretching from parts of the Appalachians to coastal New England by late weekend into early Monday. Forecast guidance continues to show notable differences in how this storm evolves. The American model paints a much more aggressive picture, rapidly deepening the system and wrapping heavy snow well inland. In contrast, the European guidance has been more restrained, though it has steadily trended stronger with each update, rather than favoring one model outright. The focus remains on blending solutions and analyzing real-time atmospheric trends. Subtle changes in upper-level energy, coastal front placement, and temperature profiles will ultimately determine snowfall intensity and location. This is a dynamic setup, and confidence will improve as the system consolidates. The American model suggests the potential for substantial snowfall in key metropolitan areas. In its more amplified scenario, parts of the Washington DC region could see totals exceeding 20 inches, with double-digit amounts extending northward toward Philadelphia and even into southern New England. While this scenario may be overdone, it highlights the available moisture and cold air in place. Strong lift combined with coastal intensification could produce heavy banding. If those bands set up over major population centers, snowfall rates could briefly exceed 1 to 2 inches per hour, leading to rapid accumulations and deteriorating travel conditions. Meanwhile, the European model offers a more moderate but still impactful outcome. In its latest runs, snowfall totals for Washington and Philadelphia range closer to 4 to 6 inches, with higher amounts favored closer to eastern Massachusetts and the Cape. What stands out is the steady upward trend in snowfall projections compared to earlier runs that showed minimal accumulation. This shift indicates growing agreement that the system will strengthen offshore. The primary question remains how close the storm tracks to the coastline. A slight jog west would bring heavier snow inland. A shift east would limit totals significantly. Current atmospheric conditions support the potential for strengthening. A sharp temperature gradient along the coast, combined with upper-level divergence and a developing coastal low, create a favorable environment for rapid intensification. As cold air filters southward from New England and interacts with Atlantic moisture, precipitation type becomes highly sensitive to track and timing. Coastal fronts may sharpen, separating rain from snow across relatively short distances. This is why some communities sit directly on the edge between minor accumulations and significant totals. Fine-scale features will play an outsized role in final snowfall distribution. Before this next storm arrives, lingering precipitation from the departing system continues across portions of New England. Snow showers persist in parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, while coastal southern New England experiences a mix of rain and wet snow. Northern sections remain colder, supporting lighter accumulations. These residual effects will taper off as high pressure briefly attempts to build in. That break will be short-lived. By Saturday evening, clouds will thicken again from the southwest as the new storm approaches, signaling the transition toward a more organized and potentially disruptive winter event. By Saturday night, snow is expected to expand across Kentucky and West Virginia as the developing low tracks eastward. Higher elevations will likely see steady accumulation first, with moderate snowfall spreading towards central Appalachia. As the system continues to strengthen, snow may extend into western Virginia and parts of western Maryland. The intensity during this early phase will depend on how quickly the coastal transfer occurs. If the coastal low deepens rapidly, snowfall can intensify overnight, creating hazardous travel conditions before sunrise Sunday across portions of the interior mid-Atlantic. On Sunday morning, precipitation spreads toward the I-95 corridor. Rain may mix in across parts of eastern North Carolina and southeastern Virginia, where marginal temperatures persist. Farther north, colder air supports primarily snow from Washington through Baltimore and into southern Pennsylvania. The rain-snow line will be especially critical near the Delmarva Peninsula and coastal Maryland. Communities such as Salisbury and Ocean City could sit on the dividing line, where a slight temperature shift changes accumulation dramatically. Inland areas stand a better chance of steady snow, while coastal zones remain more uncertain. As the storm strengthens offshore Sunday afternoon, heavier snow bands may develop across parts of Maryland, Delaware, and southern New Jersey. This phase could produce the most intense snowfall rates of the event. If mesoscale banding sets up, totals could quickly climb beyond early projections. Philadelphia lies within a zone of increasing likelihood for plowable snow. Farther north toward New York City and Long Island, confidence decreases sharply. A shift of just 20 miles in storm track could mean the difference between a few inches and double-digit totals. The gradient may be exceptionally tight. Sunday night into early Monday appears to be the critical window for peak impacts. As the coastal load deepens, strong northeast winds may enhance snowfall near the shore while also introducing the possibility of some mixing in exposed coastal communities. Southern New Jersey and Delaware could experience significant accumulation under persistent snow bands. Long Island remains a close call, with heavier totals possible if colder air holds firm. The system's core circulation will dictate where the heaviest deformation band sets up, and that feature often determines which areas see the highest snowfall totals. In southern New England, the forecast remains highly sensitive to track. If the storm edges slightly northwest, heavier snow would extend toward Hartford and even Providence. A more offshore solution keeps the heaviest snow confined to Cape Cod and the islands. Current blended guidance suggests substantial accumulation potential for coastal Massachusetts, especially from Falmouth through Provincetown. Boston may see moderate snowfall, though exact amounts hinge on whether the heavier band pivots inland or remains just offshore. The difference of a county line could separate moderate accumulation from a significant winter storm. Northern New England may see lighter totals overall, but it will not be entirely excluded. Snow is likely across Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, particularly in southern sections. However, the primary focus of heavier precipitation appears displaced to the south. Should the storm trend stronger and closest shore, these areas could see enhanced snowfall. Conversely, a track farther east would limit accumulations. As the system lifts toward the Gulf of Maine and eventually toward Atlantic Canada, lingering snow showers may persist, especially across coastal regions and higher elevations. Blended snowfall projections currently favor moderate to significant totals from Washington to parts of coastal Massachusetts. In the mid-Atlantic, 5 to 8 inches appears increasingly plausible, with localized higher amounts if banding intensifies. Philadelphia could approach or exceed half a foot of snow under the right conditions. Central and southern New Jersey may fall within a corridor of enhanced accumulation. Along the Cape, totals could reach or surpass 10 inches if colder air remains entrenched. These numbers remain subject to change, particularly as updated model runs refine the storm's path. Washington and Baltimore sit in a zone of improving confidence for plowable snow. While earlier projections varied dramatically, recent trends suggest accumulating snow is more likely than not. Amounts could exceed 6 inches in spots, especially north and west of city centers. Richmond and Fredericksburg may also see meaningful accumulation if precipitation remains predominantly snow. However, marginal temperatures introduce some uncertainty. Any early mixing could temporarily limit totals before colder air reasserts itself. Monitoring temperature profiles through the column will be critical for refining these forecasts. Across Delaware and southern New Jersey, snowfall potential appears robust. The coastal front's position will determine whether these communities receive steady heavy snow or occasional mixing. Atlantic City and surrounding areas could see 6 to 10 inches if the storm tracks favorably. Farther inland toward central New Jersey, localized higher amounts are possible within persistent snow bands. This corridor may represent one of the more favored zones for significant accumulation, depending on how the deformation axis aligns Sunday night into early Monday. New York City remains one of the most challenging aspects of the forecast. The metropolitan area lies near the projected northern edge of heavier precipitation. If the storm shifts even slightly northwest, totals could increase substantially across the boroughs and into western Long Island. A more offshore solution would keep accumulations modest. Current blended guidance suggests several inches are possible, but the potential range remains wide. Stamford, New Haven, and surrounding coastal Connecticut communities face similar uncertainty, with outcomes highly dependent on storm track and thermal structure. In Connecticut and Rhode Island, snowfall gradients may be sharp. Hartford could see a few inches in a more offshore scenario, but a closer track could double those amounts quickly. Providence and Newport also sit near the projected edge of heavier snow. Small shifts in storm trajectory could dramatically alter expected totals. This type of coastal storm often produces narrow corridors of intense snowfall, and identifying their placement ahead of time can be difficult. Continued monitoring of model trends and observational data will help refine these projections. Boston and surrounding suburbs are likely to see accumulating snow, though the final total remains uncertain. If heavier bands pivot inland, amounts could approach or exceed 10 inches. A slightly more eastern track would keep the highest totals confined to Cape Cod and the islands. Worcester and areas west of the city may see moderate snowfall, though perhaps less than coastal communities if the storm center remains offshore. The interplay between ocean influence and cold inland air will be critical in determining final accumulation. Cape Cod and the islands currently appear favored for significant snowfall. Cold air entrenched across eastern Massachusetts, combined with proximity to the strengthening coastal low, could support heavy, wind-driven snow. Totals in excess of 10 inches are possible if the storm tracks close enough. Strong northeast winds may also create blowing and drifting, compounding travel hazards. Should mixing intrude at times, accumulations could fluctuate, but current trends support a predominantly snow scenario for these communities as the storm reaches peak intensity. Farther north, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine will likely see additional snow, though generally lighter than areas farther south. The ongoing snow from the departing system may add to totals before the new storm arrives. When the coastal low lifts northward, some wraparound snow may reach southern Maine. Coastal sections could briefly see mixed precipitation if warmer air intrudes aloft. However, the most concentrated heavy snowfall is expected to remain south of these regions unless the track trends significantly inland. As the system moves into Atlantic Canada late Monday into Tuesday, precipitation may transition across Newfoundland, with rain on the southern flank and snow to the north. This evolution reflects a maturing cyclone structure as it accelerates northeastward. Strong winds and coastal impacts could accompany the departing system. For the northeastern United States, conditions will gradually improve as the storm pulls away, though lingering snow showers and gusty winds may persist into early Tuesday in some coastal and elevated areas. Given the inherent uncertainties, preparation should account for potential higher-end outcomes. In many locations, adding a couple of inches to current projections provides a reasonable buffer. Winter storms of this nature can intensify quickly, and last-minute shifts are common. Road conditions may deteriorate rapidly during heavier snowfall rates, particularly Sunday night. Travel plans should remain flexible, and updates should be monitored closely as new data becomes available. Confidence in at least moderate impacts is increasing across portions of the mid-Atlantic and coastal New England. This storm presents a complex and evolving forecast challenge. Its ultimate impact hinges on subtle atmospheric interactions that will become clearer with time. While exact totals remain uncertain in several areas, the signal for a strengthening coastal system is evident. Communities from Washington through southern New England should stay alert for changing conditions. As new guidance arrives and observational trends clarify the storm's path, adjustments will follow. For now, the potential exists for a significant winter event, with plowable snow increasingly likely in several major corridors.